Welcome to Authentic Educators, a podcast by teachers for teachers about best lessons, favorite classroom moments, and strategies you can use today. In this episode, Dave and I are joined by my former college roommate and crewmate, Dr. Ben Finio. Ben is the lead staff scientist at Science Buddies, a tremendous nonprofit that designs STEM projects that are freely available to all K-12 teachers. Our episode focuses primarily on an annual engineering competition that he helps run. The 2026 version challenges students to build a ball ramp out of simple paper and tape. The competition takes only a few days of class time to implement, can be done at the beginning, middle, or end of the school year, but it has the powerful opportunity to inspire children for years afterward. To this day, Ben recalls a special moment in his early education when he was allowed to design toothpick bridges in class rather than take yet another exam. This formative moment in his education helped inspire his career. We hope you enjoy the conversation and consider providing students in your life the opportunity to express their learning in a unique way. Really excited about this week's episode conversation with Dr. Ben Finio, my former college roommate, who works behind the scenes of the educational field to design incredible experiments that are free and accessible to any kindergarten to 12th grade class. Thank you, Ben, for joining us today. And can you tell us who you work for and what your objective is?
Sure. Thank you for having me. So I work for a nonprofit called Science Buddies. We are a website that offers free STEM education resources that are used not just in the classroom, but in out of school settings. So libraries, summer camps, after school clubs, all that sort of stuff. And we provide instructions for hands-on science and engineering projects. So not kind of just worksheets or instructional videos. It is stuff where you can physically get supplies and hands-on do something. So our materials are again, used by a lot of teachers who maybe teach in a district that does not purchase a full-blown year-long science curriculum from a big publisher. So it's more a la carte. If you're looking for a lesson on a specific topic or an activity you want to adapt to do with your kids, you can kind of come to the site and browse for the topic you're working for, filter by difficulty level, cost, age range, that sort of thing. We're also
When you
used by a
say
lot of
cost, when you say
sorry.
cost, is that just cost of
So
materials
yeah,
or?
cost for materials. So to clarify,
Okay.
everything on the website is free. We're a nonprofit. We're funded by donations and grants,
Okay.
but there's no cost to the teacher or the end user for the material.
Awesome. When we were talking before our episode, you mentioned a specific recurring engineering challenge that you're really proud of. And to me, that really is what I'm most hoping to discuss in this episode because it literally is something that has been designed by really brilliant people like yourself to do. And as a teacher, you get to be kind of just the facilitator of the information. What is that project? How does it work? And if you could also comment upon, I remember you were telling me something about like your favorite thing that you did as a kid,
Mhm.
which, kind of maybe planted the seed for wanting to go into STEM and science and engineering and such.
Sure. So the engineering challenge, we call it, I believe we are entering our 11th year. Again, we are a virtual organization. So this is, there are contests and things out there, robotics competitions where kids show up and physically compete in the same location, right? We are virtual, so we can't do that. What we do is announce the challenge rules for each year, and then people submit virtually. So they kind of have to send us a picture as kind of an honor system to prove, like, hey, we built this thing. And then there's a score sheet they fill out based on some metric for whatever that year's challenge is. So it might be a catapult that launches a ball the farthest, the tallest tower, the bridge that holds the most weight, whatever it is, kind of designed to be very low tech and accessible.
Hmm.
Mostly kind of common craft or household or office supplies for paper and tape. A lot of them are literally just paper and tape. Sometimes there will be string or rubber bands or something. Um, Again, thinking of a teacher who wants to do this with 30 kids and probably doesn't have a huge budget for a lot of supplies like that, but at least you have a bunch of paper and tape hopefully already in the classroom. So the actual objective of the challenge changes every year. Again,
Okay.
I don't have all 10 of them memorized at this point, but it was like rubber band car, catapult, tower,
I'm looking at them
pickup.
here on my
Yeah.
screen. You got ball run challenge,
Yep.
launcher, marble machine.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So again, usually something fun with some fun objective. So from the engineering side, the goal is to get the best performance out of the minimum amount of materials. So there's kind of some trade-off for the kid where you get, again, take a catapult as an example, like you get points for every inch the ball goes, but you have to subtract points for every piece of paper you use or something.
Oh,
So it's kind of
cool.
introducing the kids to this idea of the engineering design and trade-offs where you and just like engineers in the real world, you don't have an unlimited budget for everything, right? So you kind of have to factor cost and constraints, excuse me, into what you're doing.
What benefit do you see for whether it's a kindergartner, fifth grader, middle schooler, high schooler in participating in this particular challenge? And I know Science Buddies has like a whole other realm of stuff which we really encourage you. And it's at just sciencebuddies.org for
Yep.
listeners as the main website.
Sciencebuddies.org or just go Google Science Buddies or search on YouTube and we should come up as the first result.
But what do you see as like the main benefits for the students in participating in particularly this science engineering challenge?
Um, I'd say the big benefit again, and tying into what you mentioned about kind of what inspired me as a
Hmm.
kid is going to school in the 90s and early 2000s. Very distinctly remember the one time I got to build something, right? In seventh grade math class, we got to do toothpick bridges, and I had the time of my life, right? Because I
Yeah,
was the rest of it was just worksheets, and I think this is maybe a topic for a different podcast. I think things have shifted a little, back towards including engineering in K through 12 curriculum with the next generation science standards. Like they have engineering as part of the curriculum. So
hmm
I have not been in a K through 12 classroom recently, so I don't know how much that has changed and if it varies state by state. But I think there are probably a lot of scenarios where kids just don't get to build stuff in school unless it is extracurricular, right? If you're in the STEM club or my daughter does a 1 week summer camp every year where they build a bunch of things. Um, and I think anecdotally, and I don't have a paper or a citation handy for this, but I think a lot of time kids who don't do as well in a high pressure testing environment really get to thrive in that, like, hey, I get to build something.
yeah,
I mean, it kind of lets them express some creativity on the science side of things, right? Like we still have art and music classes where they get to hopefully be creative, but at least for
sure.
me, science and math were very much just kind of homework sets and testing and not getting to design things. So even if they don't do that well, right, just having that opportunity to kind of invent and build something, I think is a
Right.
valuable experience.
And I think if you look at, your experience as a microcosm, I lived with you. I knew you in college. I've known you since college, right? I know how great your work is, and how intelligent you are. That I would imagine if that toothpick challenge doesn't happen, I still think you're in college pursuing engineering. But I also feel like that toothpick challenge helps solidify that passion in you. And if you have students across the country in any given classroom where they never get one of these experiences, honestly, who knows, right, what direction life takes? Like you just like I'm an English teacher in large respects because I had a phenomenal experience with my 12th grade English teacher, right? Like that one,
Mhm.
not that one moment, right? It was a whole course I was in, but I just love the concept of giving students this unique opportunity that's been vetted by people with your credentials and your design and engineering prowess. So it's like not just any random teacher trying to come up with something, right? Like they can know that your materials are gonna work as long as the kids do it effectively. And we're recording this episode right before winter break in 2025, and a lot of times your lessons don't end perfectly right before a big break. That this is something that correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like you could theoretically do this at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year, right? Like there isn't a
Yep, there
particular.
is well, I guess if you just want to do it for fun, right, you can do it whenever you want. If you
Hmm.
want to enter the contest, there is a submission window. We
Okay.
typically open in early January, and I believe, hold on, I have this open on my computer somewhere. Submissions are going to close March 31st in 2026. So it is kind of that I'm
So
thinking
two
spring
full
semester
months.
and a.
right? Like
But
two
yeah,
full months.
there's a few months where you can do it.
Awesome.
And the old ones stay live on our website, right? So if you want to go back and do the rubber band car just because you're looking for something to do with your class, we're not running
Hmm.
submissions for that formally as a contest, but there's kind of a backlog of projects that you could do at any time.
Awesome.
Then what
Go ahead,
happens
Dave.
what happens for the folks who is there a winner or a number of winners in different categories?
Yeah, so there this val cha excuse me. We usually kind of announce a winner list for elementary, middle, and high school, which is just kind of bragging rights. There's no official prize. And then there is also usually kind of a random cash drawing, that or cash prize, just open to any applicant that the money goes to either your school or a nonprofit organization. So if like the Girl Scouts or 4-H or something
Hmm.
enter as an after school group instead of a team, you can designate a nonprofit that it'll go to. But that again, I don't totally understand the legality of running contests and cash prizes and all
Mhm.
that. But the actual cash prize is random. But then if you go to the website, you can see winner lists from past years and ranked on the scores.
So
Uh,
in a K to 5, an elementary setting, really the target demographic would be any classroom, right? Because you're doing basically all your subjects. But then when you get into middle and high school, I'm imagining science slash math classes are really the target audience. Like as an English teacher, I don't know if I could sell that connection. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, that sounds right. We do ask, teachers, we get their email and contact info when they submit. I don't know if we ask what class they teach, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if, at middle school, in high school, it's going to be the tech or physics or maybe some math classes. But I don't have the data on that distribution handy as to kind of which subject each teacher is doing.
a follow-up question. So what I think is really cool about this project is and the risk for the teacher is the teacher has to sort of allow for the tinkering and the iterations and possibly even not success in all cases, but almost not success is part of that process and part of the scientific method in some cases. And I was wondering, do you guys ever celebrate like interesting iterations of things that kids make, or do you ever receive, we failed, but here's this really cool thing we came up with on accident? Like, do you ever have that experience and any reflection on like the sort of process of all of it versus the final product?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I should have mentioned that when Cody asked about what's the, positive students get out of doing this. That is a huge part of the selling point is telling the kids it's probably not going to work on the first try.
Yeah,
And again,
Mm,
that is so different from the math and physics worksheet and exam experience where the
yeah,
answer is just x equals 2 and you're right or you're wrong.
mm,
Right. So I'd say it is very much that is built into the procedure. That iteration is part of the engineering design process, right? So you build it, you test it. Maybe it doesn't work at all. Maybe it doesn't work as well as you wanted
yeah.
to. It is pretty rare for it to work perfectly on the first try, and then you kind of go back to the drawing board and see how you can improve your design. So that is very much built into the entire process. I would say we do try to design the activities such that it has kind of a low difficulty floor for the younger kids so that they can still succeed as opposed to just
Right.
having it not work at all. Like
right.
we don't
Hmm.
want the kids to be totally disappointed. So
Yeah, my
again, if
sons
you
would
go to
just
the
get
website,
frustrated.
you can see the pictures from the previous challenges. Like the year we did a tower, right? There are younger kids who built a tower that is one piece of paper tall, but that's great. These kids still built a tower, and then there are high school kids like up on ladders in a barn, right? Who built
Yeah,
12-foot tall towers just out of paper. So we really try to have that range, I guess. So it's such that
yeah.
it's achievable for the younger kids, but can still be a challenge for the older kids.
I want to make a connection and a comment, and then I can let Cody take it away with any final questions. But one, just a comment that I think, I think the work you do looks incredible. I can't wait to explore it more. And you made the note about like just remembering the few things that you got to make in high school, and that I all three of us sort of went through school at the same time, and I'm in the same boat. I can remember in like Boy Scouts doing like the boxcar racer. I can remember in like a seventh grade engineering or tech shop or tech class making like a boat and they had to float and be weight bear, like, bear weight.
Right.
Those things stick out much more than really much else of those classes. And I am definitely um, a huge deficiency I have is in the engineering department, and I wish that that was more of a skill I had. But I remember those as fond experiences, and also I remember not having the best stuff, but that was okay. There was like something that was a even at that age, I sort of was able to put together like, oh my gosh, how are some of these kids putting this stuff together? Which is actually okay. I think it was good to like have success in that I accomplished things, but also probably wished I could have made something cooler in both cases, the car and the boat. But that's actually, I think, all right to have that experience. And the connection I wanted to make was in a sports marketing class I'm running right now. We're doing this product development project where kids develop a product, which is a game, and it's this. We have this event at the end of the right before winter break where classes get to come in and play the games. And I'm drawing these parallels with everything you're talking about because the process is such a big part of it, and the iterations are such a big part of it. And so many kids have these great ideas, but then the original idea doesn't work, and then the second idea doesn't work, and then the third idea is better than the first or way worse than the first, but they have to land somewhere. And I think I've realized through this is my first go at this project. I'm sort of borrowing from a predecessor, a teacher that ran it before, and I've taken over. And it's neat the sort of experience of seeing them go through the process and learn through trial and error and failure. And there's times where I'm losing my mind because I'm managing so many people all over the place, and there's lots of materials, and it is a lot of cardboard and tape and paint and you know kind of everyday materials. But it's a good at the end of the day experience because I don't think these kids are in other classes building, doing, creating, working as a part of a team, then needing to do the skill of marketing the thing. And so I think like it seems like the curriculum you have and just that sentiment you have of having kids make and create gets you so much more buy-in, and if anything, it at least creates the opportunity for like the reflections on kind of themselves. And failure can be actually a good thing. And I don't know if I'm asking any question there, but if there's anything you have to piggyback off of that, and then Cody can take us away.
No, I mean, I think I agree with everything you just said. Like the kids, and you can see again, go to the website and look at the pic. We asked if teachers wanted to submit a picture of the team of the students holding whatever they built, and just look at how excited all the kids are. Like
Yeah.
you can
Looking at
see
it
it in
right
their
now,
faces. They are
100%.
so proud and happy to be holding this thing they
Cody,
built.
can you share
Yeah.
your screen? I just gave you privileges. We've
Oh yeah,
never
is that going
done.
to show up in the
Yeah, let's do it.
recording?
So,
Yeah.
looking at if you're listening to us and you're not seeing the screen, these pictures of the kids are remarkable. There's this little boy in what probably is his kitchen, wearing these orange pants and blue shirt. His hands are like up by his shoulders. His mouth is open, and he's got some can on the top of it. He
Oh yeah, I
looks
should have added it wasn't just the
thrilled.
tallest tower, it had to hold a can of food at the top, so like it had to be
Oh,
kind of load bearing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why
It's
if you I don't know if you keep going if there'll be more pictures, but there were like yeah, see there's like kids up on ladders,
oh my gosh, like
like
standing
in
on
the
top of
ceiling.
tables
yeah.
and it's like I haven't used a Google or Zoom screen share really honestly since COVID, and looking at this like it was taken after COVID, we're back in school but still wearing masks, and despite that fact you can see their sheer joy on their
Yeah.
faces, like they are
Eyes
so
squinted.
proud of themselves. Like there's this one kid who's leaning in and putting his arms off to the side saying, look what I got there, look what
Yeah.
I got. And like those are the types of moments that I want for my students, that I want as a father for my sons. Right? I want them to be like, Daddy, this is what I built. Dad, I'm so excited about this. And Ben, I'm really so appreciative for the work that you do and what Science Buddies does, because creating awesome things like this, it takes a lot of work, right? And when you have, whether it's a classroom in elementary or 100 or 150 kids, like sometimes as teachers, we're just trying to keep our heads above the water. And so to be able to come in and be like, wow, look at this incredible thing. This episode's going to release in early January of 2026, which I believe is when you said
Yeah,
that this
right around
going
when
to
next year's
start.
challenge should be announced.
So, listeners out there, check out sciencebuddies.org when you're listening to this. If you're not a science or math teacher or an elementary school teacher, tell a friend, tell somebody in your building, tell somebody in your district. I really think if you take on the challenge this year or next year, that your students will be grateful, that you'll be grateful, and you'll create a really wonderful experience for your students. So to that end, thank you so much for joining us on Authentic Educators, a podcast by teachers, for teachers, and people like Ben who help teachers about best lessons, favorite classroom moments, and strategies you can use today.
All right. Thank you for having me.